All right. Welcome back, everyone, to day 2. Happy to see you all here. Can you guys let me know in the chat, just drop a yes if you're excited for today's presentation. Yes, sir. All right, amazing. Very happy to have you guys back. We're in for a treat today because we are talking about the $20 million VSL flywheel. Now, just a bit of a reminder for everyone watching, this is what we're going to be going over. But before we dive into today's topic, let me just share something crazy with you. You see, 3 years ago, I created what became, I think, is the most viewed organic info product VSL in history. In fact, I think it may potentially, at 10 million views, I think it may potentially be the most viewed info product VSL ever. Now, this single video generated 9.6 million views, 250,000 plus in ad revenue, 184,000 subscribers, and 1.3 million watch hours. That's crazy, 1.3 million hours of people watching me educate them and tell them about my solution and my product. What did that result in? $20 million in direct revenue. And by the way, we can just almost scratch out revenue and just put profit. $20 million in sales. From 10 million views, that's what that generated. Now what's interesting is I went from struggling to make $1 million from YouTube to making over 8 figures from it less than a year later. So, if you're someone who's already tried to use YouTube to monetize your personal brand and get info product sales, but you've just had no success, and you're having a hard time with things right now, I want you to pay very close attention to this one. Because this $20 million flywheel VSL that I'll show you how to put together is really the core of the system. And let me show you why this is so powerful. I mean, think about your traditional marketing funnel, okay? You have a few components. You have top of the funnel, you have middle of funnel, and you have bottom of funnel. Now, the way that's kind of broken down to is you get awareness, then consideration, and then you hit the conversion stage. Now, this is really how 99% of online business operate. You cast a wide net at the top, you have an awareness stage, and then you attract a bunch of people, all right? You publish videos, they get millions of views. Some of those people will start to see your ads, and then a very small sliver will actually click on your ads and go to watch your VSL or your webinar. And then from there, an even smaller percentage will actually buy a book a call with your team. Usually a single-digit percentage from that number. That is your bottom of the funnel stage. Your VSL or your webinar is really your conversion asset, right? Now what happens, okay, the way it works with a normal marketing funnel is you need a lot of people at the top. So that way you can just get a few at the bottom, okay? That's how it works normally. But I have a question for you. What would happen to your business if you could take this asset, which is a VSL or a webinar, and actually bring it to the top of the funnel? What if we flip this entire thing on its head? I mean, imagine if your VSL was your most watched video in your entire business. How many more sales would you guys get? Well, I can tell you, it's possible. I experienced it myself. The power of what I'm teaching here today. We're not talking about a 1x. We're not talking about a 2x. We're not talking about a 5x. We're talking about a true 10x in my info business in the space of 12 months. Implementing exactly what I'm teaching you here today. That's exactly what this system does. In fact, my most watched YouTube video ever is my VSL. We totally flipped the script. What you need to understand is that this system defies conventional marketing. This flywheel VSL acts both as the bottom of funnel and as the top of funnel at the same time. It's both the attractor and the converter. The result? You attract a new audience. It actually becomes the entry point of your YouTube channel, and it creates awareness from day one about your offer. The truth is, what you guys don't understand is that people are very busy, okay? You just automatically think, okay, someone watched my videos, they know that I have something to sell, and they know what that thing is that I have to sell. That's not true, okay? A lot of times they need multiple touch points, but my question to you is, what if the first touch point, what if their first experience with your business, the way they found out about your business, they already knew what your business had to offer and the benefits of it, and they stepped into your world? That's why this thing generates millions, if not tens of millions of dollars. And what's cool is the older it gets, the more money it makes me. It gets a boost of views for every new video I publish. And I'm going to talk about this whole system. Really, this is like an intricate web. It's kind of like an intricate web that leads to this Venus flytrap. This flywheel effect that this thing creates is really what allows this video to grow exponentially. So as I said, the older it gets, the better it converts. Now, I want you to understand where you are currently. And I see this a lot. Like, do you guys ever, I'm going to ask you guys, I'll check your guys' response. Do you guys ever like watch marketers write out all these like intricate funnels and like lines and graphs and all this stuff, and you're like, why does it have to be this complicated to present a solution to a market of people that want it? Have you guys ever seen like all those people? Just type a yes in the chat. And you're just like, you got these marketers, and I feel like a lot of marketers, they just want to overcomplicate things to make themselves look smart. Yeah, lots of yeses. They're like, here, and then you've got the tripwire that leads to this funnel, and then you liquidate it, and then like you do a 90-day autoresponder, and then maybe they buy. That's the state of affairs. And it's just tough, okay? And I think we should do things effortlessly. I think, yes, of course, we want to make a lot of money, and this system makes you a lot more money than the old conventional ways, but also what's cool about it is you feel nice. You're like, you know what, like, I love the fact that I don't have hundreds of different funnels and overcomplication, and for me, a word that's always been very important in business is elegance. I like to do things elegantly. And what I'm teaching you here today, and what you're getting, by the way, remember your concierge will send this to you as an SOP after, it's full breakdown of how to actually do this, but everything that we're teaching throughout this process and throughout this event is elegant. Let me tell you what's not elegant. The way that a lot of marketers are doing things at the moment. I mean, imagine you own a restaurant. This is what it's similar to, okay? Is this really the way you want to get people through the door? You're handing out free samples to everyone that passes by, and then you're like, okay, cool, I'm going to give you a discounted appetizer, and then maybe after all those steps, they'll pay full price. That's really what you're doing right now with your marketing. That's really what all these marketers are doing when they're just like writing these crazy funnels and automations and autoresponders and all this stuff. And it's just like, guys, there's a simpler, better way to do things. Okay? And that's what we're presenting here today. What if instead you discover this magical location where you could just set up your restaurant, where people who are already looking for a meal, they just walk in effortlessly, okay? And then when they do walk in, people immediately order your signature dish and pay full price. For me, that's the sort of business I want to have. I don't want to beg and like fret and like, you guys know that feeling? You guys know that feeling where it's just like, you wake up and every day feels like a grind. It feels like you're trying to convince your customers. They're like, what I have is worth it, what I have is worth it. That's not what we want to do here. We want to structure things in this way, okay? Your restaurant needs to be positioned at the busiest intersection in town with glass windows that lets everyone see how other people are enjoying their food. It's showcased and it's spotlights. People know exactly what's in there. Which one of these would you choose as your restaurant? Do you guys want to like beg and fret and do, type in the chat, let me know. Do you guys want to do things the old way or the new way? Just let me know, old or new. Type it in the chat. Do you want to do things the old way where like everything's just a struggle and you have to like, give them a freebie that then gives them a discount and then, sells them into this thing so you can sell them into this, or do you just want to tell them, hey, this is what I have, this is what I offer, this is my price, I got no fucking discount for you, you pay full price or you walk out the restaurant, and that's it. That's the way I want to do business. With elegance, with grace. And that's what I want for you guys as well. You see, with this approach, you can make immediate sales from day one. And by the way, as a wonderful bonus, each customer dining in your restaurant naturally attracts the attention of new potential customers who've never even heard about you before. That's when you position things in the right way. By the way, that's what this flywheel VSL does, okay? When you set up this flywheel VSL in this manner, you position yourself in a way where customers actually bring you more customers, and more eyeballs and more people walking to a restaurant brings more people through the door. It creates this whole snowball effect. Right? Instead of wasting resources moving people through a traditional funnel, you are closing sales immediately while also simultaneously introducing people to your brand and your offer, and thousands of people a day are seeing that happen. Right? The primary goal of making sale happens first. And building your audience actually just happens automatically because the people walking by, the people in your industry, will inevitably come across this video. Everyone wants to think outside the box. Everyone's like, okay, how do I go against the grain? Okay, well, here's how you go against the grain. You just fucking flip this whole thing over. Where now people find you by you pitching your product to them. And you do it in a way where it brings more people. So I want you to drop a 1 in the chat if you'd like to know exactly how to do this. Beautiful. Beautiful. Well, that's what we're going to show you how to do. So let me tell you about the biggest mistake most people make when it comes to creating a video like this. They try to create a winning video right away. Okay? It's kind of like trying to win the Super Bowl without ever playing any regular season games. Okay? It's like trying to do a 250 or a 300 kilo deadlift without ever just, raising the bar. Okay? You got to work your way up to it. And that's exactly why I talk about the micro-channel strategy. And this is what we're going to go in detail with tomorrow. Now, the flywheel VSL is like the real heavy hitter, so I kind of just wanted to give it to you guys today. But just understand that what actually comes before the flywheel VSL, I'm going to show you how to actually implement all this stuff, don't worry, is the micro-channel strategy. I explain a little bit later in the presentation. I wrote about it, but just so you guys really visually understand. It's kind of like mining for oil, right? When you mine for oil, obviously, you're not just going to drill all the way down in a random spot. No, you're going to tap. You're going to tap. And by the way, you're still making money while you're doing this. That's the beauty of the micro-channel strategy. You're tapping. You're finding what works. You're making money, okay? Tap, 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 tap. You find the vein. And when you find that fucking vein, you drill so far down because that vein is the thing that'll make sure that your kids never have to work another day in their life. That's truly what this does for you, okay? But to get to that point, we got to tap. We got to tap away. We got to find these different veins, okay? So that way, when we do find our winner, that's what we can basically have our whole flywheel VSL around, okay? So this is the exact process we use to test and find winning topics before we actually then put it into full production as a big VSL. I'm sure, listen, a lot of you guys understand how ads work, With ads, you test a bunch of stuff, and then once you find your winner, that's when you scale it. That's kind of the same thing we're doing here, okay? Because this way, your success rate goes through the roof while at the same time also building a base of videos that will actually come in handy later with our YouTube linking strategy. But today, I'm going to focus on how to actually structure a winning VSL. It is extremely important that you understand how this entire system works before you start implementing it. And that is why we're actually working from bottom up here instead of top down. So, most businesses, when they create a video, it gets some views, and then it just stops. Maybe a few hundred people watch it, maybe a few thousand, but then what? And I think when people talk about, I don't want to be on the content hamster wheel, I think this is what they're talking about, okay? They're talking about the old way of doing things, where you create a video and it's not an asset. You know how we were talking about yesterday? Everyone knows that if you have a big enough rental property portfolio, you're good. You're set up for the rest of your life. And that's really the way that your YouTube content and your YouTube videos should be. If you have enough of a portfolio of videos, you're set up for life, okay? If you do things the new way. You see, with a flywheel VSL, something different happens. Remember how I showed you that diagram with all the videos pointing to one VSL? I want you to think about it like this. When you're driving, what keeps the car wheels spinning? What is it? It's the engine, right? In our case, every new video we create is like adding more fuel to this engine. So let me show you something that will completely change the way you think about YouTube. And by the way, it's not about making videos, it's about building a system that grows itself. I have a question for you. I know you're wondering why the hell did you put milk on the screen? I have a question. Have you guys ever noticed when you go to a grocery store, they always, for some reason, put milk at the back of the store? Have you guys ever seen that? Just type a yes. Have you guys ever seen that? And have you ever actually asked and stopped and asked yourself, why do they do this? Well, it's very simple. They know that if you walk past all the other products to get some milk, you're more likely to buy something. So that's why they put it at the back. You know, everyone needs to wake up and go get fresh milk, okay? So if they know that, they're going to put it right at the back, because in the process, you're going to go, that looks interesting, that looks interesting. Let me pick that up, let me pick that up, okay? You're likely to buy more things. That's not an accident, it's a system, okay? Now, what we've built on YouTube works pretty much the same way. We strategically place our content so that way watching one video naturally leads to the next, okay? It all forms one chain. It all leads to you watching more. This system works so well when you understand the YouTube algorithm. Now, the YouTube algorithm really only cares about two things: CTR and watch time. The algorithm wants you to watch a video as soon as possible, because the sooner you click on a video, the more likely you are to spend time on YouTube. So what they did, in the early days of YouTube, is they started promoting videos that got the most clicks when shown to users, okay? So the highest CTR percentage, okay? That's known as click-through rate. But what happened was something that wasn't particularly favorable to them. People started gaming the system. Now, I'm sure you guys have all seen like crazy thumbnails, right? Like a thumbnail like this where they've got 10 players inside of the goal, all right? People create these like just super like bizarre, strange thumbnails, all right? Because when people see it, of course, they want to click on the video. So that's what YouTube was doing. Now, the issue is, it was clickbait. And YouTube soon started to notice that, yeah, maybe people clicked the video, but it was having the opposite effect from what they wanted. As soon as someone realized that the thumbnail was misleading, they would just click away and leave YouTube. It would piss them off, and they would just go, you know what? I'm off. I'm done with YouTube. I'm going to go do something else. And obviously, that's not what YouTube wants. So to fix that, YouTube introduced another parameter that the algorithm takes into account when actually recommending videos: watch time. You see, if they click off of it right away, the watch time would be very low, and the video would then not get promoted by the algorithm. Watch time became the most important metric for the algorithm. Because quite frankly, YouTube is a business, okay? YouTube wants you to spend as much time as possible on their platform. The more time you spend on the platform, the more ads you're going to see, and the more money YouTube makes. Simple as that, okay? It's purely logic. Now, what happened was, after a few years, what they noticed was that CTR plus watch time was good, but it wasn't the holy grail. It wasn't ideal. Think about it. What's one thing that pretty much every single YouTuber has in their video description? Third-party links. Every video you see has, this video is sponsored by, so they have their sponsor link, maybe they have an Amazon affiliate link, whatever it is, or maybe their sales page, whatever. And YouTube noticed that, okay? YouTube noticed that, and although people were watching full-length videos, they were still clicking off the platform as soon as they finished it. And that's the one thing the algorithm doesn't want, okay? For you to leave the platform. For example, do you ever wonder why it feels like you're playing against the algorithm when you're running ads? I don't know if you guys have ever felt that. You're like, I'm running ads, and then it just feels like when I upload organic content, YouTube doesn't like me. Like YouTube's trying to put me in a box. Have you guys ever experienced that? Anyone who's running ads? Just type a yes or no if you've ever experienced and you've had that feeling like, okay, I'm running ads, and then now all of a sudden it feels like, YouTube's kind of punishing me. You're getting punished. Like, it's so funny. You're getting punished for giving them money. It's crazy. Well, that's because you are. You see, the algorithm doesn't want people clicking on your ads. I know that sounds crazy, but it doesn't actually want people to click on your ads. Because if you click out of YouTube, you're not going to see any more ads. In an ideal world, okay, you just go from video to video to video, and you just get served multiple ads, but you don't click on any of them. All right? YouTube doesn't make money when people click on ads. It actually only makes money when you see ads. So the more ads people see, and the less they click, the more money YouTube makes. So they needed a way to ensure that people not only watch one video, but multiple videos to maximize time on platform. So they actually made a slight change to their algorithm. They started to optimize for CTR plus session watch time. Okay? They don't count for how long a user watches a video. but instead how long they stay on platform after watching that first video that they clicked. And this is what we refer to as session starters, okay? You got one video, then it takes someone to the next video, the next video, next video, and again, and again, and again. And that really became the North Star for the algorithm, which for you means that if you get people to watch multiple of your videos in a row, the algorithm will not stop promoting your videos. You're aligned, okay? Your incentives are aligned with YouTube. And trust me, when YouTube likes you, when you're aligned with YouTube, you wake up and you're like, how is this so easy? How is this so elegant, so effortless? Well, you need to align with incentives, okay? And that's precisely what we do when we link our own videos in the description and tell people to watch it, continuing that chain, right? As you can see right here. Instead of cutting our session watch time with third-party links, we actually incentivize viewers to watch more videos from us straight on YouTube. Now, this way, we are playing the algorithm's game instead of playing against it. And most importantly, all of our videos actually point in the same direction, to our VSL. So no matter what video they watch from our channel, inevitably, they end up back at the same point, which is our VSL. And most importantly, for every person who clicks on the VSL through the links in the description, 3 more people get recommended it. Because that click skyrockets the CTR and session watch time of the video, I should say. And this thing just turns into this cascading effect. It's this snowball effect that once you start it, it can't be stopped. Altogether, this thing creates a flywheel effect. The older the video gets, the more views linking to it, the more views it gets, the better the system works, so on and so forth. And it is simply exponential. I mean, think about it. We literally create a funnel inside of YouTube. If you had the choice, right? Imagine you're setting up dominoes. What's more powerful, this setup or a single line of dominoes that once they fall, they create a chain reaction? Or even better than that, a pattern where knocking over one domino triggers multiple chains. You see, most people create content like a single line of dominoes, okay? Most people create content like this, and that works, okay? It works, it's okay, but if we want to have a system that provides for us 24/7, this is what you need to implement. So we create content like a branch pattern, where every video triggers views for our Flywheel VSL. Have you ever started watching a show on Netflix, and then you found yourself still watching 3 hours later? I mean, Netflix have done it really well. You know, they have that little trailer, the little introduction to the next video. I mean, they're smart. They know what they're doing, all right? That's exactly what we're building here. A content system where one video makes you want to watch the next, until you've seen them all, until eventually you're at the VSL, and voila, okay? And just like Netflix knows shows to recommend you to keep watching, we've cracked the code on YouTube's recommendation system. By the way, there's only one very specific time when you can break this rule and actually have third-party links in your description. And I'm actually doing that right now on one of my YouTube channels. But that is for tomorrow's video, because that will make more sense on how we actually implement the Flywheel system. So I actually break this rule myself on one of my channels, and I'll explain to you tomorrow why, and why we're breaking it for right now, but that's not always the goal, because we're actually in the moment, and we're actually right now implementing the same thing that I'm teaching to you guys, all right? So let me show you exactly how to build this system in your business. Regular video, gets views, stops, one-time result, dies out. Flywheel VSL gets views, and that actually triggers more views, okay? New videos feed it. It keeps spinning. Now, this is why 3 years later, that same VSL is still making sales. Just because, and sorry, I should say not just because of YouTube's algorithm, but because every new piece of content we actually create just sends more people to it, all right? All these feeder videos, all of these videos just feed up to it, okay? Now, tomorrow I'm going to show you exactly how to create these feeder videos that will tell you what your Flywheel VSL should actually be about and get you customers at the same time, all right? So tomorrow, I'll actually explain how to create all these feeder videos, and then eventually how that all leads up to the Flywheel VSL. That's what I call the micro-channel strategy. But for today, I want to reveal the structure of the Flywheel VSL because you guys have been asking it for so much. I felt like, you know, even though Technically, it would have made sense to put this tomorrow. I just know how excited you guys are about it, so I wanted to give it to you earlier on inside of this challenge. So let me show you exactly how to structure your VSL and how this whole system works. So yeah, let's get into the nitty-gritty of it. So I want you to think about it like this. When you walk into a store and someone immediately tries to sell you something, what happens? You leave, right? But what if instead they helped you solve a problem, they understood your situation, and then they offered you a solution? This is the exact approach I take when I structure the VSL. This is the exact thing that I do that really sets this whole thing apart. Now here's a few shoulds and shouldn'ts. You should not sell immediately. You should not push product. You should not chase views. Instead, you want to help first, you want to solve problems, and you want to build trust. And I know those are like very loaded words, and like that could mean many things. I'll actually break down what that means. Let me show you the exact structure. First, what most people refer to as a pattern interrupt, I don't think about that as a pattern interrupt, but rather as mysteries, okay? Most people overcomplicate pattern interrupts. It's actually quite simple. You just need to say something that makes people think, that sounds interesting. Let me see what this is all about. It's actually very simple to do that. For example, in our $20 million VSL, I open by saying the infamous words, "We are entering a new era. Everything is changing. The way we buy, the way we work, the way we live, and so does the way people do business. We are entering what experts are calling the new arbitrage economy." Now, when people hear that, they go, fuck, that sounds interesting. Let me see what this is about. I mean, think of creating mystery like setting up a movie trailer. You want to tease something that makes people go, I need to know how that works, while also making them feel that they're going to have a competitive advantage by understanding it. Now, here's a quick formula. Take two ideas that people already know about them, connect them in an unexpected way, and then name this new connection something simple but intriguing. Give you an example. What if I told you YouTube has a secret second algorithm that 99% of creators are completely unaware of? You see, while everyone is obsessing about getting more views, the real money is made by understanding this hidden system that actually runs behind the scenes. That's one way you would frame it. Now, this works because, listen, people already understand, they acknowledge that YouTube has an algorithm. But a second algorithm sounds intriguing. It sounds, oh, there's something behind the scenes. There's a mystery that I don't know about. And if I did know about that, then I would have a competitive advantage, right? Another example could be content compounding. You see, when you combine a familiar concept of compound interest with content creation, that can actually explain how videos build on top of each other. When you say, listen, the way that I've been able to hit X amount of yada yada, or the way I've been able to get X or Y or Z result is because of content compounding. That, I can't tell you what the fuck that means, but I definitely want to keep watching the video because clearly it works for you, and clearly it's something that makes sense, sparks intrigue, sparks mystery, and there you go. There's your hook. Next, you need to show people that you understand their problem better than they do, okay? This is really where most people get it wrong. Most people will talk about features, list benefits, push products. Our way, we talk about problems, we compare solutions, that's very important, and then we give them steps. Now, I know that might sound super generic, okay? I get it, trust me, but the devil's in the detail. So let me show you in practice how to actually make your offer the obvious choice without ever feeling salesy. I call this the report card method. This thing is so genius. I can't wait to get into this. Well, I have a little sip of water. Has this been useful so far? Just drop a yes. Has this been useful? Are you guys liking this? Does this make sense? Beautiful. I'm glad to hear. I nearly didn't share the report card method, actually. I know my CMO is watching this. He's pissed I'm sharing this right now. Now listen, we've all been there. School report card, I remember mine. I'm sure maybe some of you guys know. I never actually finished school, so I was dreading these whenever they came in. Report cards, all right, school report cards. They made it very crystal clear who was doing well and who wasn't, okay? my question to you is, what if we could grade solutions the same way using simple criteria that everyone agrees matters? All right? What if we use this system? By the way, use this system in your favor. Let me explain. Imagine you go to a restaurant and you're trying to choose between a burger and a salad. Now, if you care about taste, price, and how full you're going to feel after, of course, the burger will win. But if you care about calories, health, and energy after eating, well, then suddenly the salad becomes the obvious choice. Our job here is not to push the salad. We just want to show what matters most to your goals. So here's the big secret. Okay, here's how you actually use the school report method, the school card report method. You want to make it indisputable that your solution is the best in the market. And the way you do that is you pick criteria where your solution wins. You're stacking the odds in your favor. You cannot lose by implementing this. Now, you use these as universal measuring sticks when you compare the competition. So you show fair comparisons across multiple options, and then you just let viewers connect the dots themselves. That's it. So if you go back to that restaurant example, if you want the burger to win, of course, you push the ingredients, the taste, how good it looks, okay? Whereas if you want the salad to win, well, then you're going to start showing on the menu, you're going to show the calories, the health benefits, and the nutrients they get from it. And as a result, whatever you want to sell immediately seems like the best option, right? And the best part is you don't sell. You just let people come to their own conclusions, right? People just agree with it, because by the time they agree with the criteria, your solution has already won, because you're using the best criteria that fits for your solution. And the secret is, they always agree with the criteria. And the byproduct of structuring your VSL using this method is that people don't realize they're being sold to. In fact, they thank you for opening their eyes. It's nuts. I mean, if you look at the comments, people are so positive because, you know, nowhere during the video do I actually sell anything or push anything until it comes time to present my offer. The secret isn't in selling, it's in educating. When you show people the truth in a way that makes sense, they actually say thank you for opening their eyes. Now, drop a yes in the comments if this is starting to make sense. Are you starting to understand how to position your offer in a way where, like, it's effortless? Once again, remember that word elegant. For me, elegance is super important in the way that I conduct business. I want to have a long career. And the way you have a long career is by showing up and having a business that's set up in a way that's elegant, effortless. All right? For me, I don't want to sell. I don't want to aggressively sell. All right? For me, it's not fun. I don't want to sell. I just want to educate. But I do need to stack the odds in my favor. Okay? And this is really where most people mess it up. They just stop here. They think they have the best solution, so people are just going to buy from them. Let me tell you a secret. This is a real shame. Unfortunately, this is just the way the world works. Just because you have the best solution does not mean you're going to make the most money. Okay? In order for people to buy after watching, you always have to get them to say, I can do this. Now, good news for you is we have a way to actually get people to say that. All right, let me show you how we do this using our most successful video. It is called the bridge strategy. So before you ever present your offer, there's actually 2 sales that need to happen. In my VSL at least, those 2 sales were why SMMA, social media marketing, is the best choice, and why they can do it too. You see, first you need to sell them on your solution as the best solution. And that's, by the way, what we did with the school card report method. And that's where most people just stop their argument. They're like, okay, cool, well, my solution is the best solution, so, okay, you're going to buy now. But what happens next is the viewer needs to know that they're actually capable of implementing such solution. I mean, listen, you would not jump off a diving board before knowing how to swim. Like, I could show you the best method to jump off a diving board, and you would understand that, okay, cool, jumping off this diving board is going to be a thrill, and I'm going to have fun, and I'm going to enjoy it. Like, I could sell you all the benefits of jumping off a diving board. Hey, you're going to have 5 seconds of airtime, and it's going to be bliss, and you're going to feel the air in your hair, and it's going to be amazing. But you're like, I can't fucking swim. I'm not going to jump. I don't know how to swim. So that is why you need to make sure, you need to reinforce that they're actually capable. Or the opposite. I can create the best argument ever on why becoming a quantum physicist is the best and most guaranteed way for you to become a millionaire. All right, so let's say I had the craziest VSL ever, And I implemented all the systems and all the things I'm showing you here today, and I make it 100% clear why being a physicist, a quantum physicist, is the best path. And I get you to believe that. But even if you believe it, you're like, okay, cool, I get it. That's the best path for me to become a millionaire. You go, okay, I can see how that's the case, but that's useless for me. Because I don't understand anything about this domain, and I don't have what it takes to actually become a physicist. So, even though your argument might be true, it doesn't get me to take action and actually move forward with this system and what it is that you're actually selling, your solution. So first, we create what I call the business model report card. And by the way, this doesn't only apply to business. Let's say, for example, it's anything in your industry. Let's say you're in fitness, right? So imagine the fitness model report card, why your mechanism and your way of actually getting people results with fitness is the right method. But in our case, we'll use the business model report cards just so that way you can understand. So what we do is we actually compare every single popular online business. So drop shipping, Amazon FBA, affiliate marketing, and social media marketing, and then we use 6 simple criteria that everyone cares about. Startup cost, time to first sale, profit margin, control, scalability, and location freedom. Now, just like a school report card makes it obvious who's the top of the class, this makes SMA the clear winner. I have just taken a bunch of different variables that I know I'm going to win at, okay? And I've put them on this report card. Now, technically, this report card could have been like an extra 20 different variables, and those extra variables could have not been in my favor. That's why I didn't put it on there. You want to stack the odds in your favor, okay? But here's where most people mess up. They stop proving that their solution is the best, or sorry, they stop after that, okay? Like, okay, cool, I proved my solution is the best, great, done, finished. They know my solution is the best, so give me your credit card. That's not what you do. You need to spend 75% of your video showing people how simple it is to start. Now, we took the 4 biggest reasons that people think they can't do it, and we turn them each into simple steps. By the way, guys, just so you understand, this is why we create a lot of this, like the niche content, and this is why we create the feeder videos, is because when you create the feeder videos, you start to understand, okay, what are the doubts, what are the concerns, what are the things, the limiting beliefs holding my market back? And then you put that all into the VSL. So for us, I don't know how to start a business. I don't know what to sell. I don't know how to deliver the service. I don't know how to get clients. For us, the magic really happens in step 3, which I'll get into in a second. But this is what we turned it into. Okay, well, setup, you just buy a domain and set up an email, and we show you how to do that in 2 minutes, and it costs $5. You choose your niche and service using our checklist. And that checklist, once again, takes you 5 minutes. Super easy. Don't even worry about it. Don't stress about it. This was a big one, delivery. Instead of delivering yourself, you just use contractor arbitrage. And I'll explain that in a little bit. For clients, you follow our outreach templates, plug and play, boom, easy, done. So let's talk about contractor arbitrage. You see, just like Uber doesn't own cars and Airbnb doesn't own homes, we show them how to deliver services without being an expert. Okay, they simply connect clients with contractors who do the work. Arbitrage. That is an arbitrage play. I mean, look at the comments. The comments on this video, people aren't complaining or pissed off that we pitched a product. They're saying, thank you for opening my eyes. Because we didn't sell, we educated, and we let them come to their own conclusions. We just laid out the truth in a way that makes the next step so obvious. Now, when someone watches your VSL, they're not just watching a video, okay? They're seeing proof that their problems can be solved. Every story you share, every result you show, it's building belief. And this is why our VSL still converts 3 years later. Now, unfortunately, it broke my heart, man, that we couldn't get it to 10 million views. We actually ended up, we stopped selling this offer back in November, so we had to, unfortunately, unlist the video. But yeah, for 3 years, it was pumping, all right? You see, when someone sees real proof that something works, timing doesn't matter. The message is timeless. Now, have you guys ever watched something that completely changed the way and sort of completely reframed your mind of what was possible? That's really the powerful part. When someone finishes watching, the 2 sales are done. And at that point, they already believe that your solution is the best solution in the market. And more importantly, they believe that they are capable of applying that solution themselves. And once those 2 sales are done, presenting your offer becomes the next logical step. And that's why the flywheel VSL converts so well. Now let's take a look at the difference between a bad VSL and a good VSL. Bad VSL, you pitch first, you force the sale, you push product, whereas a good VSL, you make the solution indisputable. You make the viewer believe that they are capable of doing it. And then you just make your offer the next logical step. And this is why all of the feeder videos actually point to the VSL. They all funnel up and they all flow up to the VSL. Now, once someone goes through these steps, they believe that they can do it themselves. I mean, think about it. When's the last time you bought something because someone pushed you to buy? Never. If someone aggressively pushes you to buy, you don't want to buy the thing. You know, people buy when they're ready. Now, as I said, your job isn't to force. Your job is simply to educate, break their limiting beliefs, and then that's it. Your solution is the right solution for them, right? You don't buy when someone tries to force and push something down your throat. And that's really the difference. I hope you guys are actually starting to understand the difference between the way we do it, the new way versus the old way. You know, where all these old marketers, everything's just about like hammer them from 100 different points, and it's just so aggressive, man. All right? Comment me if you're starting to see the difference. If you're starting to see how this new way is effortless, right? This new way, like, you're actually going to enjoy going to work. The cool thing is, as I said, you're going to make way more money, but you're just going to enjoy it. As I said, like, I'm 10 years in. 10 years into being an online entrepreneur. I guess 9 years properly. Let's say 9 years properly. Man, I'm having more fun now than I've ever had. I'm having more fun now than I have ever had. Because I'm doing it this way. I'm doing it the effortless way, the elegant way. Now, tomorrow I'm going to show you exactly how to actually create the perfect feeder videos that actually send people to your VSL. But for now, let me show you how to actually take action on everything we've covered and how to actually, get this working and put this into place. As I said, this is where you guys are going to see tomorrow all of these feeder videos and how that all flows up to our master VSL, how this all becomes one cohesive system. Now, before I actually show you how to implement this, let me share something else that most people misunderstand about YouTube. When pharmaceutical companies create new medicines, do they immediately produce millions of bottles? No, that's a one-way road to bankruptcy. Of course not. They test it carefully first. You see, YouTube works the exact same way. What YouTube does is it actually tests your video with a small group of people first. It serves impressions first, okay? Then what happens is if they love it, YouTube is then going to go ahead and show it to more people. Now, if they don't, it stops, and it starts showing it to less people again. Now, let me show you why most people fail with YouTube. What happens is they either go too narrow and never reach enough people, or they go too broad and attract the wrong audience. Now, there is a specific sequence that works well. If you owned a restaurant, would you just randomly order food for next week, or would you check what dishes are actually being sold? Would you just, when you're reordering for your restaurant, are you just going to go, oh, well, let's just order an even amount of every ingredient? Of course not. You're going to see where is the demand, okay? What do you need more of? You're going to check your sales data. Yet most people try to create viral content without first testing what their market will actually buy. You know how I told you guys about the oil drilling approach? Most of you guys are going to go, okay, you know what, I think the oil's there. Let me just drill all the way down. Instead of, remember what I said, tap, 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 tap. We're going to get there. It'll take a little bit of time, but we'll get there. We're going to keep tapping, and once we tap it, I told you, you got bliss after that. Everything's just effortless. Customers come to you. Clients come to you. Business, opportunities, all comes to you. So let's break down the two-phase approach. First is the testing phase, and then we get on to the scaling phase. Now, in the testing phase, we actually create targeted content for buyers. We channel traffic from search. We track which videos drive actual sales. We identify patterns in converting content, and we also build proof of concept. Then we move on to the scaling phase. Now, in scaling, we take winning concepts from microchannel. We build a VSL around a proven topic, and then we channel traffic from recommendations, and we create content that feeds itself. It's like fishing, all right? First, you test different spots with small lines to see where the fish are actually biting. Now, once you find the perfect spot, then you bring in the bigger nets, okay? Most people try to cast a huge net before they even know where the fish are, okay? You know someone who's been successful using this structure for years that you probably haven't noticed about? There's some big guys, there's some top dogs who are actually using the system. You probably just haven't realized it. The founder of one of the biggest hedge funds in the world and the author of the best-selling book, Principles. Just so you guys understand, this book stayed for 52 weeks in a row in the top 20 most read books on Amazon. It's insane. He sold over 5 million copies of his book. And by the way, most of those sales were actually fueled by a single YouTube video. So I know a lot of you guys are wondering, hey, can I implement this system if I'm selling a book? Can I implement this system if I'm selling, I have a service business, if I'm selling consulting, if I'm selling implementation, if I'm selling, whatever kind of business you have, you can implement the system. Once again, we have a multi-billionaire who implemented this system, all right? And that was all done by a single YouTube video. Here it is. This video has amassed an incredible 65 million views. He managed to turn one of the most boring topics, which is economic principles. So by the way, I don't want you guys saying, oh, you know, I can't do this for my industry because it's boring or it's not as exciting. 65 million views. All right, one of the most boring topics, economic principles. And he turned it into one of the most watched educational videos on YouTube. And really what that video was, in essence, was an under-the-radar VSL, where he presents the thesis of his method. He convinces you that his view is the right view when it comes to the future of global economics, and then he shows you how you can take advantage of it. Exactly what I showed you how to do today, by the way. The two sales. Convincing his audience that his solution is the best solution out there, and then convincing them that they can actually apply it in their life. And then at the end, he naturally pitches an info product. In this case, it's a book. By the way, just so you guys understand, a book is an info product. It's an informational product. You buy it for info, okay? So when you're buying a book, that's actually an info product. It's just a way to package it up. So he used that VSL to sell his info product, which is a book. And what's so interesting is that he also applies the flywheel principle. He has dozens and dozens of videos that actually point back to this one, and he actually even has some retargeting ads running to it. It is a true case of a flywheel VSL. Now, do you notice how real businessmen focus on creating a content system? Guys, do you realize how ridiculous when you've got people in our industry who are like, I don't want to be a slave to content. I don't want to be on a content hamster wheel. You got a guy who's worth $14 billion, and he implements these systems. Come on. It's not taking time out of his day. It's not taking time out of my day. When you play it smart, like we do, like guys like Ray Dalio and I do, because we have the same system, just in two totally different sectors. And we sell different things at the end at different price points, but it still works brilliantly for both of us for what we're trying to accomplish. When you do things like this, you can still go run a $14 billion hedge fund like he has, or it's even more than that. You can still go and build enterprise plays like I have and build my empire in many different verticals, which we're going to get onto later on in the event. All right? When we do things elegantly, when we do things in a smart way, that's the sort of life that you can live. Rather than just creating content like every other content creator, we play things smart, elegant, okay? Now let's do some simple math exercise here. He sold 5 million units. The average is $20 per copy sold. That's about $100 million generated from info, from a book. Let's even say it's $10. Still, $50 million. It's insane. If even the founder of the largest hedge fund in the world, who's worth $14 billion, is applying this system in his info business, what makes you think that you shouldn't apply it in yours? Now, before I give you your homework, let me be very clear about something, okay? I purposely left something out of today's class. I purposely left something out, and this is what I'm going to share right here. You see, what I taught you today is what it takes. This is really 80% of it, all right? This is really 80% of what it takes to put this asset together, which is what you actually see during the structure of the flywheel VSL. Now, I will say that's 80% of the work, but that's actually only responsible for 20% of the results. And that's also a big reason why everyone's failing to monetize on YouTube, because they only focus on the content and actually overlook the most critical component of it, which is the packaging. You see, packaging is responsible for 80% of your results. It all goes back to what I told you right at the beginning of episode 1. YouTube is nothing more than an ad network, and each video you should treat like an ad creative. You see, with ads, 80% of your results comes from the creative. It's the same thing with YouTube. And the way that I discovered this, the way that I know this for a fact, was from a channel that actually has nothing to do with business. It's from a science-based channel called Veritasium. Now, he's been killing the YouTube game for over a decade now. And he actually had this one video that totally changed the way he approached YouTube. You see, 8 years ago, he actually published a video that you may have watched where he throws a basketball off a dam. Now, he titled it, Strange Applications of the Magnus Effect. And he had this really shitty thumbnail. It got basically no views. Then what happened was someone else downloaded this exact same video, okay, so the exact same contents, and just packaged it differently. He uploaded it on his channel. It got 9.5 million views in the first 2 weeks. You know what the difference was? Instead of having that boring title, the guy titled it, Basketball Dropped from a Dam. And it had this thumbnail, and that was it. That's all he changed. And it got 100 times more views. The exact same video got 100 times more views than the original one just because of its packaging. The video was the same. That is how important packaging is for YouTube. Now, what really got my attention was his finding after that experience. Here's what happened. He wondered, well, if I did this once, could I replicate this, right? If I change the thumbnail and titles of my other videos, what would happen? So he tested it. Before, he had this video, Why the Neutron is the Hero of Nuclear Physics, which is, by the way, terrible packaging, and no one was interested. Even worse was the thumbnail. And then he changed it. He changed it, he repackaged it to a much more appealing one, and you can see it right here. Why Einstein thought nuclear weapons impossible. And naturally, it started to perform much better. And it became one of his top performing videos. So I started seeing this, and I started studying this a few years ago, and I thought, okay, you know what, let me test this myself. I don't know if you guys have noticed, I keep mentioning this word elegance. I have a lot of things going on in my life, okay? So if I can do things in a way where I can do things once and keep getting paid, you know, kind of like that rental portfolio example, if I can build these assets that keep paying me again and again and again and again and keep bringing me results, well, I want to test it out. So I applied it on one of my videos. And sure enough, here's what happened. Back when I applied this video had 52,000 views 6 months after being published. At the time, this was a high performer for my video. I didn't really have a big channel back then. But what happened was exponential growth, all right? Now, just to give you guys a bit of context, I actually pulled up the stats. My videos were getting between, you can see on there, 13 to 21,000 was typical in that period, okay? That video today has 2.7 million views. And by the way, that video is also one of the biggest feeder videos to my Flywheel VSL, all right? And we're gonna talk about that tomorrow. Now, why is this so powerful? Why this is so powerful is because, first things first, it means that if you ignore this, your videos will never perform properly, no matter how good the videos are. You could have the best video on earth, and it breaks my heart when I see people put so much time and effort into videos, and you have so much to share with the world, but you just ignore the packaging. And by the way, I did that for years. Tristan, who's my chief content officer, as I said, we've been working together for, a long time, full time now, 5 years. I remember initially 5 years ago, I thought, you know, I don't have time to focus on the thumbnail and title. I'll just shoot a video and then we'll just figure it out on the day. Yeah, that wasn't very smart, was it? But what happened was even videos that we created back when that was our philosophy, that was our approach, we now had a second chance, all right? It means that when you change the packaging of a video, it actually gives it a second chance. It behaves the same way as if you actually publish a brand new video. So this in turn means that once you actually have a solid base of videos, as long as you keep rehashing their packaging, you don't actually need to post any new videos, right? So you don't need to post videos 5 times a week, 2 times a week. You don't even need to post videos once a week. Once you already have a catalog, that pays you dividends, okay? Once you already have a real estate portfolio, that pays you dividends, okay? Once you have that solid base, you can keep rehashing the packaging, okay? So you don't actually really need to post new videos all that often, and your views will keep growing. You're gonna keep getting new people coming to your channel and clicking to your VSL, which will get you more sales, and get the VSL recommended to even more people because of these new clicks. And that is why this is the flywheel VSL system, okay? It just keeps spinning, keep growing, keep generating sales. This thing is a snowball, okay? Now today, this rehashing and packaging process has become such a critical component of this entire system. I actually have a full department that all they do is just rehash old videos, and they go back, they change the titles, and just repackage it. And for each new video I publish, they actually create 15 to 25 thumbnail options to choose from and test from. This way, we are 100% sure that we're giving this video the best odds of performing well. Now, we're not just publishing and hoping like 99% of people when it comes to YouTube. And by the way, myself included, back when I decided, let me build a smart business, an elegant business, a business in the new way, rather than just copying what everyone was doing with the old way. And the best part is, this department, all these full-time people who are not only giving new videos the best chance of succeeding, but like, if I'm tired, if I'm burnt out, if I'm in one of those months a year where I'm like, hey guys, working super hard, I gotta act my age, and be on a boat in the Mediterranean somewhere and chill out, I'm good. I know, listen, even if I don't upload for a month, 2 months, it's fine. So we have a catalog, okay? I got my real estate portfolio that we can just rehash, repackage, all right? And that doesn't cost me much. It costs me a few $1,000s a month, and it is one of the most ROI positive departments in all my companies because it makes sure that no matter what, even if I'm not feeling like creating content, I always have this bank of content that we can rehash, repackage, and keep bringing back to life. Now, do you want me to explain how I actually run this entire rehashing system? Just drop a yes if that's something that you're interested in. Big yes. Capital letter yes. I'm not surprised. Well, that's exactly what we're going to cover in tomorrow's session. So please, please, please make sure you show up live or you will miss out on it. Now, I have a question for you. When people go to the gym, do you know the number one reason they fail? The number one reason they fail is not because they don't know what to do. It's because they try to do everything at once. Some people are saying lazy. No, it's not lazy. Most people aren't actually lazy. Most people are overwhelmed, okay? They're trying to do everything at once instead of just baby steps. Same thing happens with YouTube. Because by the way, I wouldn't call any of you guys lazy. None of you guys watching this right now are lazy. You've just been misled. None of you guys right now are lazy. I've looked at every single survey. I've looked at every single type form. I know the audience watching this. You guys are fucking smart people. You're switched on people. Quite frankly, I'm just gonna call it how it is. You guys have just been misled, led astray, consistently pushed and promoted the old way. That's just, to me, a little icky, a little gross, not fun, and not really the way that you want to run your business. This is the new way. So you guys are fucking smart, I can tell you right now. I've looked at every single survey. I know who's here, and I know who's in attendance. We have some heavy hitters in attendance. You're just overwhelmed. And by the way, the same thing happens on YouTube. People try to create 20 videos their first week. They burn out. Nothing works. So instead, let's do this in a smart way, okay? Most people, they try everything. They burn out. They give up. Your path, you're going to start simple. You're going to build a foundation. You're going to gain momentum from there. So here is the assignment for tonight. First things first is the content audit. I want you to look at the last 3 pieces of content you created. That could be emails, social posts, anything, okay? What got the best engagement? What actually resonated with your audience? Ask yourself that. Why? Because your winning VSL topic is probably hiding in plain sight. You just need to spot it. Remember what I talked about with tapping? That vein of oil that's going to make sure that your kids' are good, it's actually probably in plain sight. It's there. You just need to spot it. Now, next, I want you to write down the top 3 problems that your ideal customers or clients have. By the way, guys, not surface level problems, okay? Real problems, the ones that keep them up at night. Why? Because great VSLs don't sell products. They solve problems, okay? Let me repeat that. Great VSLs do not sell products. They solve problems. Next thing is, now that you have that ingrained in your mind, that brings us on to number 3, which is actually watch our VSL. I'm going to share our $20 million VSL with you, but here's the thing. Don't watch it like a viewer. Watch it like a scientist. Watch it knowing what you know now. When does it grab your attention? Where does it build belief? How does it maintain momentum? So I want you to drop a W in the chat if you're going to do this. Guys, I can talk. I can keep talking forever. But I need, this is a dance here. W's in the chat. All right, I'd love to see it. All right, so we're going to have this done for tomorrow. Because once again, this is a dance, and I'm telling you, everything I'm telling you to do right here, it's not for the sake of it. This is very, very important. Now, tomorrow we're going to go over the micro-channel strategy. Okay, that's what we're going to show you. You're going to learn exactly how to create the perfect feeder videos to actually flow up to your VSL, but that only works once you have done the assignment. Now, for those of you guys in VIP, I'm actually going to give you some feedback on your YouTube video ideas during our session tomorrow. As you guys know, we have the 1 hour before. Now, for any of you guys who are wondering how to actually be a part of that VIP conversation and for me to give you some feedback on your YouTube videos, if you're in general, you can upgrade to VIP. I will get someone to drop a link here. So someone in my team will actually drop a link. You guys can upgrade to VIP, be a part of that conversation. Or once again, if you're curious, just send a message to Concierge, and they'll go ahead and send you that link as well. Now, here is what I know for sure. The people who do the assignment tonight, they're going to be the ones who are going to have their flywheel spinning 90 days from now. The ones who skip it, listen, they're going to still be stuck in the old ways, doing all the old, icky, gross, super complicated, stressful funnels, this, that, okay? Let's do things elegantly. Let's do things in a better way. And with that being said, I've had a lot of fun with you guys today. I'm very excited to see you guys tomorrow. And as always, I'm watching from afar, and I'm rooting for you. Very excited. I'll see you guys all tomorrow. Cheers, guys.